I'd be hunting out there. I'd find them sticks.
This is KWK today. How y'all doing? We just kicking it. It's so funny. So I'm talking to my guests whom you're meeting in just a minute, and the team started counting down, right? So they didn't think I heard them. First, one person was counting down. Then two people. Then after that, about five, 4, 3. Golly, like I'm deaf or something. How y'all doing? Blessings on you and yours. This is KWK. We're going to have a great time today. Let's start off, first of all, by remembering all of our men and women who served in the military and now rest from their labors. This is Memorial Day weekend. While some of you will barbecue and hang out and stuff, that's not the real purpose of Memorial Day. We invite you to take advantage of that. But let us always remember those who sacrificed their lives for our freedom and liberty. And while we normally talk about this on Veterans Day, I want to mention it now. Let's be in prayer for our brothers and sisters and their families who served in the military, defended their country on foreign soil, only to come back home to suffer societal and personal injustices themselves. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit later on with our guests, but we're happy to have them. And by the way, let me mention it right now. Charles, we're going to hit this later on in the KWK, but we want to. D is back from a 2-week hiatus. We tried to get him to tell us everywhere he went, but he wouldn't divulge those locations. Drum roll, please. Uh-oh. Now we know where he's been. He went and got his own drum roll app. Little snare drum app. We got drive-in service, first weekend in June. Woo! 6 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, 6 o'clock a.m. on Sunday, 8 o'clock a.m. and 10 o'clock a.m. We're going to celebrate all of our graduates. I mean, kindergarten graduates all the way up to PhD folk on Sunday, 10 o'clock a.m. We invite you to drive on through. So before we kick it off with our guests, I want to highlight Sister Dr. Are you doctored yet? All right, she's still working. Tara Smith's in the house, and we got with us Suntan, as I mentioned her. Dee is back with us. Rose with a fresh haircut is back with us. By the way, I bumped into Rose earlier this week, and he was, anyway, praise God. And we got Don, executive producer, and for the third or fourth week in a row, I don't know what's going on, Kevin Broussard is here for 3 or 4 weekends, 3 weeks in a row. Kevin, you all right? All right, he's back for 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And then, of course, Mr. Charles Rashad, the professional photographer in residence, who's ready to take your comments. And as we get ready to do that, welcome, if you would, please, Doctor and Doctor. Got a Mr. Doctor and a Mrs. Doctor Watkins, all the way from Huntsville, Texas. What's up?
Hello.
Yeah, you got to use your mic, though.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, we're doing great.
Doing great.
Thank
Good,
you.
Thank you.
good.
Thank you for asking us.
Thank y'all so much for coming. We got a lot to talk about with you today. You're just a wealth of resources
Okay.
and resourcefulness. First of all, tell us how long. Let's talk about you first, just a little bit. How long you been coming to the church?
It's been almost 20 years now.
20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
What? And you drive from Huntsville.
We drive from Huntsville.
How long does
We
that
drive
take you?
from west of Huntsville
Uh-oh.
to here, which is it's about 100 miles
Huh? One way?
one way.
Why do you drive 100 miles one way to attend Windsor Village?
Well, we found a wonderful church family.
Oh, look at you. Give yourself. Holler at Charles Rashad right now. Say something to the Watkins for driving 100 miles one way. Let me see. I did my math real quick. That's 200 miles round trip. That's a long way. Every Sunday at 10 o'clock service, seated to your left and to my right. And we just happy to have y'all here. Now, there's a reason why I'm asking this next week. I know some of you are going to cringe when I ask this question, but there's a reason why I'm going to ask them this question. You'll understand better later on. And don't worry, I just look crazy. I'm really not. I asked them if I could ask them this question live, and they said I could. You ready for this question? How old are you?
I am 78 years old.
And I'm 76.
And when I asked them that question before the show started, they jumped at it and said, yes. They hurried up and told me how old they were. And the reason I ask you this, and you'll hear this again, wait until you hear what all these young folk are into. For all of you who's sitting around 27 years old, 75 years old, however age you are, and you're just sitting around waiting for something to do or feeling depressed or lonely or out on a limb or by yourself, get involved. Ask the Holy Spirit, what can I do to change my life, make a life better for others? What can I do to help somebody? Man, God called us to commune and connect and fellowship. And when you sit there like a lump on a log all by yourself, life can become unnecessarily long. We'll get back to that. That's going to bless you today. So how many children y'all have?
We have 4 daughters.
4 daughters. Awesome. How many grandchildren?
3 grandchildren. 2 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. And 2 great-granddaughters.
Oh, got great-grand.
Yes, my fishing partner.
Fishing partner. Awesome. So your great-grandparents, your grandparents, your parents, you drive 100 miles to church one way.
Yes.
Let me apologize. We're going to talk about this right now. For all the people who know the Bible, turn to John, the 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 11, the first miracle that Jesus pulled off. Mm-hmm. What did he do? Turn water into what? Wine. Say it loudly. Turn water into wine. The Watkins are wine makers. Never met black winemakers. I don't know if I've met white winemakers, but anyway. So tell us, how'd you get into making wine?
Well, as I told you earlier, it's kind of a family and racial history. Even in the olden days, when African Americans were not allowed to do so many things,
right?
They took great joy in doing the things that they could. So grapes, wild grapes, were easily accessible.
Yep.
So they would take the wild grapes and they would ferment them and make wine. That's how I first became associated with wine. My grandmother was a great winemaker, but unfortunately she put too much sugar in there, which produced too much alcohol. It was almost brandy, but anyway.
So educate folk like me as to why is it that more sugar produces more alcohol?
Right. Well, there are 3 things necessary to produce a wine. A fruit, whatever the initial product is going to be, sugar, and water.
Got it.
The sugar is critical in the equation because the sugar in the fruit produces alcohol and carbon dioxide.
Gotcha.
So as carbon dioxide flowed out and eliminate itself, it leaves alcohol. So the more sugar normally will produce a greater level of alcohol, with the exception of you can reach a point of saturation where you have too much sugar, and then your wine will be too sweet. You won't be able to drink it hardly.
Well, Ron, now we know why that sweet wine make you drunk so fast. Yeah. So how long you been making wine?
Well, I've been making wine probably about 20, 25 years. Started off with a friend who had plum trees. He made plum wine, and it was such good quality. I tried to get his recipe. Well, that was learned by example, and then I had to really train myself on the process, because you can make wine out of anything, but most of the wine is made out of some type of grape. Gotcha. Various types of grapes produce different kinds of wine. But my first experience with my winemaking, I hadn't referred to the information that was necessary to teach me the process and why you have to go through certain parts of the process. So when I bottled my wine, I didn't stop the fermentation, which continued to produce carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
which expanded in the corks and blew the corks. So I went into my winemaking office one day, and wine was all over the floor. So I went and got the books necessary to teach me how the proper way to do it.
Got it. So would you consider yourself a bootleg winemaker, or official winemaker? What's your category?
My category is winemaking for me is a labor of love.
Labor of love.
Yeah. People have asked, you sell the wine. I said, no. What my wife and I do, we do things to share with our family and our friends.
I got you.
Yeah. So as long as you don't produce over 200 gallons of wine, you don't have to worry about the feds coming after you.
What's that, D? 199. What is 199? Oh,
Yeah.
I got it. I'm slow, dog. 199
Yeah,
gallons. So
yeah.
you produce about 198 every year.
But it is a labor of love,
Yeah.
and the critical part of the process is it requires two basic critical things. First of all, is patience,
Patient.
because the better the wine age, the better the quality, and the better the sanitation, which is critical in the production of the wine, the better quality of wine you produce.
I just heard a question in the spirit.
Okay.
And I want to answer it right now. I'm going to look in the camera.
Okay.
I just heard somebody ask, have the Watkins given the Caldwells any wine? The answer is, heavens yes. I just heard another
dad-
question in the spirit.
Yeah, your dad really liked
Was it good?
Yeah.
The answer is, heavens yes. What? Tell them how many different kind of wine. You have fig wine? Or,
Oh, we've made all kinds. Well, we started out with wild grapes.
wild grapes.
And because of that experience, I produced after I got the information and everything, produced the tame grape wine, which gave us better control of fermentation. Then we've made wild grape, tame grape. We've made pear wine. We've made peach wine, strawberry wine, fig wine,
Good Lord.
dewberry wine, and Japanese plum wine. So we've made a lot of different
So the
kinds of wine.
production team wants to know, how come you didn't bring any samples?
Well,
Sorry.
And I forgot, I do have some bottles at home from the Watkins Winery, and I just flat forgot to bring them. I was supposed to get here early to do some taping. I was running late, got tied up on the phone, and I'm so disappointed I didn't bring, not to give away to the staff, but just to show. Just to show. I'm really sorry about that, but anyway.
Okay.
well, we use your same reason. You were in a hurry and we were in a hurry.
Yeah,
this
well,
morning, so
it's all good.
but
Yeah, but by the way, Kimmy says that the drive is worth the drive, and she was complaining about driving from A-Leaf, so she said she's not gonna complain about driving from A-Leaf anymore, knowing that you come.
Yeah.
Well, that's somebody from Georgia. Do you know Marilyn from Georgia? Somebody's hollering at you from Georgia, the state, not Georgia, Texas.
yeah. Well, I have relatives in Georgia.
Well,
and,
they must be tuning in.
yeah.
And Sandra says good wine. Sandra, how you know it's good wine? That's what I want to know. How does Sandra know it's good wine? So winemakers. So have you ever thought about going into business?
Well, I've been asked, and I thought about it, but
Yeah.
only for a split second,
Got it.
because it's a process and a long process in order to produce a good product.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, Walker County, where we live,
Yeah.
there are numerous wineries there.
Yeah, really?
Oh, yes, there are numerous wineries there. As a matter of fact, one black professor has one of the Froggy Creek wine production.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his wine is pretty famous in that area. But it's a good wine producing area because of the quality of the grapes and
Great.
that can be grown, the soil and that type of thing. So,
Yeah.
but I've never seriously considered it because, I like to cook, and sometimes people say, "Well, you ought to start a restaurant." No, it wouldn't be fun anymore.
yeah, I know that.
So if we went into business making wine, then we'd eliminate the basic reason why we started making, and that is the labor of love. Yeah.
Well, if any of you have any question about winemaking, the Watkins are here. We invite you to type that in, and we're going to segue to a much more serious discussion. And this is the reason. I mean, the winemaking. We want to make fun of that, and it's something new and unique. I wanted you to talk about that. Right. We appreciate that. Right. But I really want you to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, and I think it's so cool that a 78 and 76 young folk would get involved in something like this, and that is voter suppression.
Yes.
Voter suppression. As we know, it's we got a little uptick here. Nothing new under the sun. Yeah. But the way it's manifesting itself right now is systemic and very dangerous, regardless of who you vote for.
Right.
Regardless of whether you're independent, Democrat, or Republican, your vote should not be suppressed.
Right.
Tell us, if you would, please, what's happening? What are you? And that's another thing. We are real good about complaining and saying what needs to be changed. And that's right. We don't come up with an answer without knowing the right question.
Right.
So citing the problems is great. Oh, but coming up with a solution is so much better. And I want to publicly thank you, for the sacrifice and the commitment and the time and the energy and the intelligence you've invested in combating this suppression. So tell us what you're doing in that area.
I'd like to share that Helen precipitated so much of the successes that have been achieved in our county, but we stand on the shoulders of some folks that went before us in Walker County. That was a man by the name of Wendell Baker Sr., who was my chemistry teacher, who lost his job because of getting people to vote. And that was during the time of poll tax. He would take his total paycheck and pay the poll tax for as many people as he could to get to vote.
Excuse me, Doc. There's some young people, folk out there who may not know what poll tax was.
Right. Poll tax was a voter suppression effort that was established where you had to pay a certain amount of money in order to be able to register to vote. Okay? But it was eventually determined illegal because, it violated our voting rights. But back in those times, it was a standard thing. Like in a lot of communities, the powers to be would come up with challenges for black folks to determine how many jelly beans were bottled and those kinds of things, which further eliminated the opportunity for African Americans to vote. But the poll tax was a very critical thing because, the first time I voted, I paid a poll tax, which was $1.25. But that was a lot of money for a family that maybe had to live on $15 a week, you see. So
about what year was that?
That was in 1957 or 58, But after that, the law was changed. But it has always been a challenge. But I share this with you because Mr. Baker lost his job as a teacher because he refused to not get involved in the process of encouraging and enabling African Americans to vote. But as God will provide, he was fired by the superintendent. He came right on down to Houston, interviewed, and got a job as a chemist for a chemical company, making 3 times what he made, which put him in a situation of where he was really a stone in the shoe of the community because he didn't depend on the community for his livelihood and for taking care of his family. So that was the encouraging factor for us. But both of our families have been involved in the life of the community as long as we can remember.
Right.
So we stand on the shoulders of folks who went before us that set the example for us. But we're really proud of what the women that Helen has worked with has done.
Well, Dr. Helen, what are y'all doing?
Well, there are a group of women that we refer to ourselves as whip women.
As what now?
Whip
WHIP?
WWHIP,
Oh.
Women Who Have Impact Power.
Oh, excuse me. Say it again, please. Women.
WWHIP, Women Who Have Impact Power. And that is any woman.
Hashtag that. I like that.
Well, that's any woman.
Yeah,
anywhere.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's
Yeah, all
awesome.
women have impact power.
Women who
And
have impact power.
And
Wow.
we just need to know how to use it
Right,
for the betterment of our communities,
right,
for the future of our children,
right.
our grandchildren,
right.
great-grandchildren.
Sure.
And so what we did, a group of women got together and we first sat down and talked about what can we do to help with voting.
Uh-huh.
So all of our focus is on voting
In your county, these women are.
in the county,
Got it.
in Walker County.
Uh-huh.
And so we decided that we would talk to people that we knew,
Mm-hmm.
people that we have impact power over,
Mm-hmm.
our friends,
Mm-hmm.
our family,
Mm-hmm.
our church members.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started spreading the word in the community how, first of all, it's very important to vote
Mm-hmm.
and that we should cherish the vote that we have.
Mhm.
This was before the present
Right.
suppression efforts
Right.
started. This was a few years ago.
Yeah.
And so each election cycle, we would encourage people to vote. We would send announcements to churches.
Mm-hmm.
We would talk to our neighbors, friends, family.
Mm-hmm.
And we encourage people to use their right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And it started simply like that.
Right.
And so I encourage all women everywhere. You have impact power.
Yeah.
And use that with your family members, your friends, your club members. If you're a member of an organization, talk to people and tell them how very important it is to vote.
Right.
Because now that vote is being challenged.
Right.
They're trying to take that away from us. They're trying to discourage us from voting.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter which party you're for.
Right.
Your vote is very precious and very powerful.
Right. 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 Well, your husband was sharing with me that you came up with a form or model or something that's been duplicated across the country.
The petition.
Well, we came up with a petition,
Uh-huh.
and we sent the petition around Senate Bill 7
Right.
that they are now probably passing as we speak
Right. Right. That's right.
at the state level.
Yeah.
And we sent the petition to Austin,
Mm-hmm.
to the appropriate people there.
Mm-hmm.
And we had church members to sign.
Mm-hmm.
We had an online petition going. By the way, the online petition, we got 30,000 signatures.
30,000 online.
30,000 signatures
To oppose.
to oppose the voter suppression
Right.
laws that they are now passing as we
Right.
speak in
Right.
Austin.
Right.
We encouraged the senators and representatives to not pass these bills.
Right.
And the reason being is they are very, very restrictive. Texas has some of the most restrictive voter, laws
Right.
anyway.
Right.
But now they're really going to be restrictive. In fact, you can't even help a person to vote in any way.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give a person water
Mhm.
if they're in line for hours and hours in the hot sun.
Right.
And the list goes on and on and on.
It does.
And these efforts are put in place to discourage people from coming to the polls, from even coming out to vote.
Exactly.
And it was all precipitated by the large turnout we had in
Right.
2020.
Yes.
And I'm so proud of that turnout.
Yeah.
And what I will say is we're hoping from the national level
Mm-hmm.
that we'll get some help across the nation, but prepare to jump through any hoops you have to
Yeah.
climb any mountains you have to get to the polls and vote, because that's exactly what they're looking for, is for
Right.
people not to vote.
Right. Anything the enemy does not want you to do,
Yes,
that's what you need to do.
exactly. Yeah.
We're going to get back to that. We have some comments on the screen. We want to
Okay.
kind of get a little
Sure.
interchange going. Does WHIP have a social media presence, and how do I find out more information about it?
Well, not per se, but we have, through our daughter Monica,
Mm-hmm.
who work with she make videos and work with videos and edit videos. And she came to Huntsville and she videotaped.
That's your daughter from Denver?
Yeah, she's a
Denver?
retired model.
Yeah.
She's living in Denver now. And she came to Huntsville, and she and her husband videotaped several of our community activist women, and they gave their reason for getting involved with voter suppression and get out the vote.
I'm gonna mess with that's Tara Smith. You ever seen her? She's seen you. Tara, let's help. Let's that be you. Work with Dr. Helen Watkins, please. Let's. I think WHIP should have a social media presence. You need a website.
Yeah.
That's got so much potential.
It does.
I think. Well, what you think, Tara? She sounds really encouraged, doesn't she?
As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
our daughter Monica coordinated this process
Right.
with, was it vote?
Change.org.
Change.org.
Yeah.
And she coordinated with Change.org, and so they now have the videos on social media.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's good. Yeah. There's a wine comment. I want to get back to the wine, but I want to stay right here with the voter suppression here for a second. That's my Aunt Gwen. Saying hello. So, by the way, forgive me, please. Thank you for your service. This is not Veterans Weekend, but we still thank you for your service as captain in the Army, was it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do you want to say anything about what's happening in your county? You don't have to, but I wanted to give you the opportunity if you wanted to share.
Well, we've seen regression all over the country when it comes to civil rights, specifically as it involves the rights of African Americans. But at one time, we had, as a community, had taken so many actions, got so involved in voting. At one time in 1964, Mr. Baker that we talked about was responsible for 64% of the registered voters of Walker County being African American.
64%.
64%. That made a big change, got the attention. But in recent years, there have been regression to primarily, well, all throughout the government, but the primary problem that we're dealing with right now is law enforcement, and primarily the Huntsville Police Department. The NAACP, which both of us are life members, have had in the last 2 months about 4 incidents where black men have been beat.
In the last 2 months.
In the last 2 months. One going back to 2020, December of 2020, where this young man was just, horribly treated. But it has brought about a coalition with the Black Lives Matter. We're so fortunate to have some college kids there, a family of college kids who have established the Black Lives Matter and have gotten involved in the process, have started by protesting against the Confederate statue, the Confederate monument that's right on the courthouse square.
Right.
And but has gone into dealing with police issues. But
Right.
we have some horrible examples of where young black men have been badly abused, and I can say that we're requesting federal intervention in this situation.
Well, for somebody who's 78 years young and 76 years young, you have surely, what shall I say, you don't give anybody any excuse. You are ripping excuse labels off a lot of folks' souls today for not getting involved.
Could I share this with you?
Yeah.
We have a friend that's like a sister to us that we met during my tour of duty in the military. And she has great philosophy, and she has said one thing that has stuck with us for many, many years. She said, excuses are tools of incompetence
Yeah.
used to build monuments of nothing. Okay. So
Yeah.
we keep that in our heart all the time.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
excuses.
Yeah, you're making a difference. Well, you're making a difference. I want to invite you to holler at the Watkins if you have any questions about winemaking, any questions about what they're doing to oppose voter suppression. Any questions to them at all? I just think you're a remarkable couple, especially to be so young. Your best days are still ahead of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, our daughter Monica has started a podcast
Yeah.
that's going to kick off Memorial Day,
Uh-huh.
and
That's Monday.
that's Monday,
Yeah.
and it's called Critical Concerns with Dr. Rich Watkins. And our first guest is a female veteran.
Hey, yeah.
And to discuss so many of those issues and so many challenges that she had on top of being an African American.
Right. It's 1:30 or thereabouts, and normally at 1:30 on KWK we pause to acknowledge and remember church family members who've passed.
Yes.
And I think at least for the second weekend in a row, no church family members have passed.
Oh, wonderful.
Amen. So y'all keep living out there.
Amen.
and that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Yeah. So what led you to get involved in this type of, broadly speaking, civil rights movement, particularly in this season during these times?
That's our families. Both of our families have a history of community involvement. Her grandfather was a well digger that was self-employed. He dug most of the wells in the 2 or 3 county area.
Yeah.
And was exposed to all kinds of racial discrimination and harassment. But I won't go into detail, but he was a courageous man. And on one occasion, he was challenged by a young white man making racist statements, and he'd had enough, so he responded physically. And so he became a target of the Klan.
Did he pop him?
Oh, knocked him out.
Knocked him out. So became a target of the Klan in Huntsville.
In Huntsville. And the Klan is still active there.
I was about to ask you
Oh,
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the main figures was a county judge who eventually passed, but that kind of thinking and that kind of involvement is still there in the community.
So do they have rallies that you know about?
I don't know of any rallies, but I know of the people who are members and believe in that kind of philosophy.
Do they wear the hood or just?
They don't. They are unhooded. Yeah, and
that's the worst kind.
That is the absolute worst kind.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, and her parents were always involved in the life of the church. That church. Both of our families are families of faith, which has sustained us under some tremendous conditions. But those were the kinds of people. Her parents, my dad, who served in World War II, career, and volunteered to go to Vietnam when I served. So he served in those periods of time. And he was the man that drove his car with his gun and picked her grandfather up and brought him to Houston to get him away from the Klan. So those are the kinds of experiences and, that we learned from. Not what they said, but what they did. They showed us how to be involved.
Right.
And it took courage, for them to do a lot of the things that they've done.
Yeah, we need more courage around here. So look, I want to ask you 1 or 2 more questions. And first of all, thank you again for driving from Huntsville, Texas to be on KWK.
But driving to church is a wonderful experience.
Oh, listen to
It is, let me tell you. So much good has come out of the time that we spend together in the car.
Listen at you now. I love that. But we do thank you for that, seriously.
Thank you.
Well, 1 or 2 more questions and before we let you go. You have grandsons. Any of your great-grandsons males? What,
We have two great
We have
granddaughters.
two great-granddaughters, but we have two
Sons or daughters?
grandsons.
what do you tell your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren about police brutality? You mentioned earlier about the spike in abuse that's happening in Huntsville right now. What kind of guidance do you give them as they move around in Texas?
Well, our grandson that lives in Huntsville has had some real challenges with law enforcement.
With law enforcement.
Yes. But our grandson that lives here has parents that have taken on that role of leadership, have exposed them to the realities, and have supported him,
Right.
which has given him the ability to, I think, negotiate his way.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do, really, is to
And pray for them, of course.
be there for those kids, and to be honest with them when they ask questions.
Right.
You know, our great granddaughter, I mean, her wisdom is far beyond her years.
How old is she?
She's 6.
Uh-huh.
And when she asks a question, as a matter of fact, we get a chance to, because Helen homeschooled her this past year.
That's a whole nother subject. 76 years young, homeschooling.
No, trust me, it was a group effort. I cannot take the
For a
credit for that.
6-year-old.
It was a family affair, I'll put it like that.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
But we have to have that conversation because the reality is there,
Yep.
that those dangers and those challenges are there.
Yep.
So I think it's critical for us as grandparents and great-grandparents
Yeah.
is to support our children, their parents, and
Yeah,
support
yeah.
them, and to be there.
Oh man, listen, before you leave, drum roll please. Again. Oh my gosh. Welcome back from the dead.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Watkins was almost, you were good as gone.
I was, yeah.
What's it been, 2 years ago now?
It's been almost 3 years.
3
now.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
All miracle folk, holla at the Watkins, holla at me. I am a miracle. We want to hear from you right now. What were you, are you at liberty to say what you were diagnosed with?
sure.
I don't even remember. I just remember you.
Well, the unfortunate, well, actually, those experiences have really been blessings for
Yeah.
me and my family.
Right.
My first challenge was in Vietnam. And,
Right.
Yeah, and died, and
Oh,
they
you
brought
didn't
me
tell me
back.
that.
Yeah, had a reaction after my surgery. Had a reaction
In Vietnam.
in Vietnam in the hospital.
Uh-huh.
Anaphylactic reaction to penicillin,
Wow.
and just they brought me back.
Yeah.
Then this most recent situation was major blood clots. I'd had one incident of blood clots from flying and driving and in one leg. So the first time you came to see me with that blood clot, they put a screen in.
A screen.
Yeah, a screen to keep that blood clot from traveling to my heart and lungs.
That was
which,
years ago,
yeah,
about 13
yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And when I had this situation, I had such major blood clots until, long story short, my wife had to take charge and make sure that I didn't go to the hospital in Huntsville, but to come to the Woodlands.
Right.
When I finally got there, the doctors thought that I was going to lose this leg, but for, I think, about 3 nights, we had a praying surgeon.
Yeah. A praying surgeon.
Yeah.
That
And
helps.
they prayed that I'd live to the next day.
To the next day.
To the next day. That's right. So not only did I not lose this leg,
Uh-huh.
but after about 10 days in ICU and 3 months in hospital and recovery, I was able to walk out of the hospital.
90 days in recovery. Tara, how long were you in recovery? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Her recovery period was so deep, she didn't even know how long she was in there.
Wow.
I remember visiting her too. Nothing like miracles.
I'm telling you. But you know, my son-in-law
Yeah.
put on my phone the song that's sang at this church, I Believe in Miracles.
Yeah.
And I listened to that the
Yeah.
whole time I was coming out of ICU and in recovery. I had two
That's
songs.
a good
on
idea.
there.
We'll put that on my phone.
I'm telling you, I believe in miracles, and it was imprinted in my spirit.
Imprinted in my
And
spirit.
the other
I like
song
that.
was, Oh, How I Love the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those two. And I still have them on my phone right now.
Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody wants to know, how do they tune in to Critical Concerns podcast on Monday?
It should be on.
Raise your mic a little bit, please.
Mike.
It should be on the social media page. Now, Monica's trying to get it on Spotify,
Oh,
so it should be coming out on Spotify in the
Okay.
next day or so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Then she wants to, will you please repeat the quote about incompetence?
Yeah. Okay. Excuses. Yeah. Excuses
Tools.
are tools of incompetence used to build monuments of nothing.
There you go. There you go. Dr. Diana Masters, whose husband hired me when I was at SMU going to school. She was the first lady. Now she's a pastor herself at Hamilton Park United Methodist Church.
Wow.
She used to say, and I can still hear her sing it. She was a math teacher.
Right.
Excuses are tools to nothingness.
That's it.
Yeah, so any way you cut it, excuses don't do you any
That's
good.
right.
Good question. Marsha wants to know, and we talked about this before the show, how long have you been married?
58 years.
Woo,
Coming up in August.
It's awesome.
It'll be 58 years.
Yeah, well, invite us to the party.
We will.
Matter of fact, these folk here can record the party for you. They can produce the party.
As a matter of fact, we might have it here.
yeah, you should have it here.
You know.
And I'll tell you what, and even if you don't bring the wine and forget it, Don will bring his.
Okay.
It might be from Walgreens, but he'll have some. I'm sorry. He said he don't do cheap wine. So I was asking somebody what they paid for that wine about a month or so. They said, I bought mine from Walgreens. That wasn't you? Oh, excuse me, sir. All right.
We saw that sermon, by the way.
Oh, well, let's see. Al Scarborough says, thanks, Rich and Helen, for being spokespersons for rights in Walker County.
Well, we thank Al for all that he
Yeah.
does. He's a quiet man that does a lot,
Yeah.
unassuming.
But I tell you what, when he talks, you better listen.
He's like B.F. Utton, yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate him
Yeah.
and his wife.
Yeah. Good people. Good people. So listen, anything else you want to share with us before you're not going back to Huntsville right now, are you?
Well, no, we've been encouraged to go by one. We fortunately have 3 daughters and their families that live here, so
How about that?
we're going to go to one daughter today after we leave here,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back Sunday to another daughter to participate in a veterans Memorial Day veterans program at her job.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm so disappointed I didn't bring some of those bottles of wine. I tell you. The production team, I'm talking about, we are too. Yeah, maybe I'll bring them next week. You don't have to come back next week, but I'll bring some bottles of wine next week. Thank you, Dr. Watkins, both of you, for taking time, for talking to me on the. Oh, is that Deborah? That must be
Pastor
Deborah.
Deborah.
Yeah, Pastor Deborah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she.
one of our adopted
Well, let me
children.
finish that. She's thanking the Watkins for taking time to talk to her and taking her under their wings while she pastored in Huntsville. That's so kind of you, Pastor Deborah. Thank you for checking in.
We adopted her.
Yeah, she's worthy of adoption. Thank you for selecting me to be the chaplain of the NAACP in Huntsville. Is that Deborah still?
Yeah.
All right, good. Cooking up love, Pastor. Yeah, I got to start making these announcements. So, look, what else you want to share with us?
Well, we're just thankful to have an opportunity to visit with you.
No,
today.
man, the honor is ours. So you
We
don't.
appreciate the conversation.
Oh
Yes, it's enjoyable.
Oh yeah, no. So you sure you don't have any wine in your trunk or nothing? Huh?
Well,
forgot
at one time I would have. but I've been reformed.
By the way, I'm sure I'll get some emails this week, D, but you know, and let me just go ahead and get in a little bit of trouble. The Bible does not say don't drink wine. The Bible says don't get drunk.
Right.
So watch your sugar. Yeah, well, watch the sugar.
Right.
Well, we appreciate, and Dr. Watkins, as you also may know, is also one of the leaders in our veterans ministry. So thank you for the leadership you provide there as well. And a shout out to all of our veterans. Again, it's Memorial Day, not Veterans Day, but we continue to be thankful for you, particularly when you do not get what you deserve.
Yeah. Well, we thank you as veterans and families for
Yeah.
giving us a ministry
Yeah.
opportunity, and
Yeah.
all the veterans and the families that have been helped through this ministry, through your leadership.
You're
And
very
we
kind.
appreciate you.
Yeah. And this weekend service will have a special little, is a 2-minute video, thanking the Lord for our veterans and remembering them. And one of our other members just walked in, and her dad served in the military, now rests from his labors. My dad, as you know, served in the military, now rests from his labors. So we want to remember them and keep it real and keep it special.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, your
they
dad
deserve
is
it.
one of the special ones who never talked about
He sure didn't.
his military service like a lot of heroes do, but he
Right.
was a real hero
Yeah.
that served at Normandy.
Yeah. In fact, he was 80. We were at his 80th birthday at Buca's up in the Woodlands. Small gathering of us. Before I realized, and he shared that he fought at Normandy,
At
the
Normandy.
Battle of the Bulge.
That's exactly right.
He waited, 45 years to tell me he fought in the Battle of the Bulge. And even then, when you ask him what he did, he said, I worked on a light pole. But come to find out, he was decoding messages and
right.
stuff. Never
A
should.
real hero.
Yeah.
Real hero. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so are you.
Well,
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you.
Y'all don't have to leave. I just got to hit a few church
Okay,
announcements. You
sure.
In fact, you can sit here and help me.
Okay.
All right, let's hit these church announcements. We have about 11 minutes left. First of all, we want to remember again and celebrate the fact that we're going to have drive-in service. Have you been to one of the drive-in service?
No, we haven't.
Oh, I don't know if it's worth the drive from going 100 miles or not. But the folk who come in really enjoy it, and this time it'll be a little bit more, I guess. Don, you want to let folk get out of their cars or what? Yes. They can. That's almost a drum roll. You can get out your car with your mask on, please. Pastor Charles Brooks will demonstrate and instruct couples on how to lovingly cook a complete meal. Oh, the shucking that. The couples will be sent a list of ingredients once they register so that they can cook along with Pastor Brooks. And when is that? That's the 7th of June? Good. Well, you don't want to miss that. That sounds kind of special. Thank you, Pastor Brooks. Food Bank, we're back in operation 12 to 3 on this Thursday. And as usual, we need volunteers, particularly men. Go to the app or the website to sign up. And it's still rocking and rolling down at the Power Center, 1241 South Post. So mature adults, you can work that body on Thursdays at 12:15. It's virtual. Don't come to the KBC. It's still virtual. You can email gbrown@wvumc.com to let her know that you'll be participating in this virtual workout. By the way, when we first launched KWK, it's coming up on a year now. One of the reasons we launched it was to help keep the members informed as to what's happening at their church. And this is our opportunity to do that. Virtual parenting classes starting this Sunday, May the 23rd. No, May 23rd is over. Anyway, it has started, so we invite you to hook up with that. All of our parents, you don't have to wander in the pool, wondering how you're going to swim, or parenting all by yourself. We have a ministry here to support you and guide you, and we thank God for that. Children's Ministry After School Check-In. IT is the leisurely hour for children to express themselves about their day. We invite you to access the information at fhall@wvumc.com. It never ceases to amaze me as to how many ministries and opportunities we offer.
That's
really,
right.
you offer, the church, to help folk as parents particularly.
That's true.
You know, not to mention all the other things. So you don't have to do this by yourself. Be you single or married, parenting help is available. Divorce care. Divorce happens, and we have some folk at the church who are divorced, of course. You don't have to be lonely, don't have to be alone, don't have to be by yourself. It begins on August the 29th. It's a friendly, caring group of folk who will walk alongside you during one of life's most difficult seasons and experiences. You don't have to go through it alone. Check out the website. By the way, if you don't have the app by now, I mean, you really need the app. You need the app to see what's happening in your church. Power Center Food Park. We'll have about 8 vendors up there tomorrow. There are a few there today. They're rocking and rolling and kicking. And tomorrow is Social Media Day down at the Power Center Food Park. We invite you to check that out. 1241 South Post Oak at South Main. And in addition to the drive-in service, as we mentioned about 45 minutes ago, we will have our, call it the annual cap and gown service.
Wow.
How does the cap and gown music go? Oh, that's almost how it goes. Anyway, yeah, that's it right there.
That's it.
You might not believe this, but I remember the night when I graduated from high school. They don't believe me. It was at Jones Hall.
Wow.
Yeah, I finished
I
number
do
31 in my class. I was glad to get out of that. Cap and gown for 2021, graduating, that'll be 10 a.m. this weekend. And then the Prayer Institute. You know what, D? This is our final drum roll. Let's do it. Just Prayer Institute. Drum roll, please. D, you know what? D, I don't want you to take this personally, but I like your personal drum roll better than I like that one.
Okay, we can next time.
Yeah, but it's okay. But that's good though. Thank you for taking the effort to get that one.
Pastor,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Freeman was my graduating commencement speaker,
Is that right?
and his topic was to be loved. Oh, what a feeling to be loved.
What year was that, Doc Walker?
1961.
Go on then. Let's see. I was 8 years old. Bless the Lord. Oh, that's pretty cool. No, I could have been 8 years old. 61?
61.
Yeah, I guess I lied about being 8 years old. Anyway, well, I was born in 53. Yeah, I was 8. How old are you?
78.
You look my age. The Prayer Institute has 2 scholarships available. STEM with Dr. Evelyn E. Thornton and their general scholarship. They're offering 2 scholarships. Deadline is June 25th. The Kingdom Builder Scholarship, by the way, this is the last year for that $20,000 scholarship, is available now. I think the deadline is the 7th of June, right, Don? Yes. Coming up soon. Don't deny yourself of a scholarship. Apply now. Well, I'm a junior in college. May I apply? Chances are you won't get it. You might, but I tell you what, if you don't apply, you doggone sure won't get it. So apply, apply, apply. You never know what's up. Sister Talk with Pastor Suzette will be on Saturday, June the 12th. And I'll pause there because Evangelist Rogers' homegoing is next there. So yeah, it should be June the 12th. Yeah. And we invite you to hook up with Pastor Suzette and do it online. And of course, you can go to the website and app for details. Whoa! D, if you hadn't done it 3 times already, we'd ask for one more, but that's okay. Father's Day photo submission is happening right now. I think Pastor Beatty has something special. Stay tuned. I think he wants the brothers to dress up. Is that a definite go? Anybody know? Well, stay tuned. We got something special for the fathers. All you mothers and daughters and sons out there who have fathers, this is the almost last day of May. Does June still follow May? And Father's Day is in June. So don't go talking about, oh, Father's Day slipped up on me. I'm telling you now, it's coming. So let's celebrate Father's Day and do it in Jesus' name with joy and thanksgiving. Lastly, I think virtual STEM experiences. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And next year we're going to put an A in there for arts, STEAM. Kindergarten through 12th grade. We've got faculty from around the country who are going to partner, I call it partner, with you in relatively small groups It's a one-day seminar. It's a value of $125. You get it for $25. As my grandmother used to say, you can't beat that with a stick.
Sure, okay.
So we invite you to go online, learn about the forces of friction. That's the title of the seminar. It's going to be Friday, June the 25th. We think we're limiting it to 100 people, so once it's full, it's done. And, you know, we like to wait to the last minute. I encourage you not to do that this time, and we thank Monica Foley for her leadership. Monica Foley is the chief of staff out there at NASA, so she's kind of pulling it together, working with our children and youth.
Wonderful.
That's pretty cool.
That is.
It's big time. And the faculty for this, by the way, come from historical black colleges from around the country. So this is
That's
pretty big time stuff.
It is.
Yeah. So did you know the CEO is accepting business and ads? That's what that says. Business ad submissions for the 35th Annual Business Director. Thank you, Charles Rashad, for your clarification. We invite you to put your business in the street and let us know what the goods and services you offer, and we're excited about that. And yes, summertime. You want to sing that, Ron? Since you sang the graduation theme, is almost here for Vacation Bible School being in full swing the 20th of July. God's Wonderland reminds you of that old Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderland. Anyway, all right. It's preschool through 5th grade. Y'all pray for me. Go again to F Hall, but F Hall is busy around here, isn't she?
Yeah.
F Hall at WVUMC.com for information. I said that was the last one 4 times for 8 announcements ago. Active Living After Cancer is a weekly Zoom session with T3 Health and MD Anderson. In fact, I got to go to MD Anderson right after this to pick up some records to send to somebody. So God bless everybody at all of our healthcare entities in the country. And we thank the Lord for you and be a part of this cancer support group in Jesus' name. Yeah, so we got about 3 minutes left. What I missed?
Live Father's Day service.
Excuse me?
We'll be live Father's
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Live, like we did for Mother's Day, we're equal. We're balanced. We did it for mothers, we'll do it for daddies. Live Father's Day service, second weekend in June, and it's going to be kicking it. I'm sure just like we had something special for the mothers, we'll have something special for the fathers. Is that right?
Yep.
Hello?
Amen.
All right, so they had nice big old signs of mothers up across this platform. I expect some big old signs of daddies up across the platform. Oh, Lord. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, okay. So that's a good way of saying it won't be the same. Okay. Wait a minute. We talked about Rose socks before. He got on the same socks now. He either dyed the ones he had, or these are actually a different pair. But the same style. They look like footies. I guess that's the new thing. What you buy, a pair of shoes, two sizes too big to put those socks in them? No. Don't those look like thick socks? You can run back to hustle in those socks and not put a hole in them. Those are thick socks. Anyway, I'm sorry. All right. Listen, thank you for tuning into it with us. Dr. Watkins, thank you again. Don't let age or any other inhibition keep you from making a difference. Man, when God puts something on your heart,
Amen.
Get after it. And I don't want to sound morbid, but don't assume tomorrow is promised you. I declare it is, but assume that it's not. As the Bible said, work while it's day, and let's make this the place you know it needs to be in Jesus' name. But I think it's about out. If it's not about out, we're going out anyway. Can we end early?
Yeah, a minute early.
Yeah, because it might. Anyway, all right, so thank you for tuning in to KWK today. We love you. We appreciate you. And by the way, if you have any recommendations for a sermon or a sermon title related to miracles, if you want us to address a particular component related to miracles, let us hear from you. Give us an email. Give me an email address, Don. Same one. info@wvumc.com. That's info@wvumc.com. For that matter, if you have any recommendations for KWK, if you want to recommend anything to anybody for no reason, holler at us at info@wvumc.com. We are made better when you give us your input, especially when the Lord pours it in through you. We love you. God bless you. Be safe during this Memorial Day weekend, and God bless you. You want to count? Well, you counted us down to come in. You want to count us down and leave out too? Just say, oh, now he's being cute.